Hello Spurs fan, Paul here, Hotspur hippie. Come on you Spurs. Just enjoying a spot of fishing, trying to swap some prime meat for fish. Doesn't seem to work. I don't think I'm top of the food chain. I'm in a lazy mood today. Sometimes I'll do it with plastic lures, soft lures, but you've got to waggle that around. Today I'm feeling a bit lazy, just a bit of meat on the end of a stick. Nothing works here anyway. I'm nice and relaxed down here. Nice spot. And I'm getting a little bit, what's the word? Maybe nervous is too strong, but a little bit concerned maybe over the transfer window that we're coming into. And I'm very conscious that the press and journalists, they're all about clickbait and, clicking through on, to their adverts and all that sort of stuff. So they will be saying stuff that they know football fans, especially Tottenham fans, will be clicking. But I'll just tell you briefly why I'm concerned. So I'm seeing reports, again, who knows if they're true, that we've agreed personal terms with Brentford goalkeeper David Raya, who I think would be a fine goalkeeper for Spurs. I don't know what many players are like. I only judge them on how they play against Tottenham. And I thought he had 2 good games against us last season. He looked really kind of assured with how he got the ball out up the pitch, and he looked quite agile, agile in the goal, really quite good. And there's no doubt we need a goalkeeper. Hugo's gone, probably, some other country where they can have the medical science that's advanced enough to fix his injury that he got during half-time at Newcastle. We definitely need a keeper. Fraser Foster, I think, has done a really good job. I mean, that was a fluke of a signing, actually, when you look back on it. When he came in after 1 or 2, maybe even just one sort of lackluster performance when he came in, where he seemed to be slow getting down to the ground. I think he really did all right. Not the super shot stopper that Hugo was at his peak, but not a bad backup really. I think he's done really well. But we do need a keeper, don't we? That's the fact of it. We need a keeper, and I think Raya, 27 years old, good age to get a keeper in. Not quite at his peak yet. Could have him a few years, that'd be sweet as a nut. But the thing that's worrying me is that even though we've agreed personal terms, the press, those Fleet Street meatheads, are saying that we're haggling over the price. And I don't know if this is true. You don't know if any of this is true or not anyway. Right, quick pause there to recast and let some person walk by. So the reports are we've agreed personal terms with David Raya. That's cool. He's open to coming to Spurs. But we're haggling over the price, and I'm seeing reports that Brentford want 40 million quid and Levy wants to pay 38.5. And, it just makes me nervous. It really makes me nervous. I don't really see other football clubs, although, to be honest, to be fair, I don't really pay much attention to the news from other football clubs. But I'm just getting worried it's going to be the same old story, man. Same old story. We need a keeper. That's the fact. And so he's got 1 year left on his contract at Brentford. So I guess you could say that 40 million is a bit steep, but you've got a keeper for years. I think it's definitely worth buying. Who else is there? There's probably Bazunu from Southampton, the Irish goalkeeper, who's pretty good as well. I don't know if he's on the lookout or not though. And I'm just fed up with us not acting like a proper club sometimes. And I'm getting a little bit concerned that, maybe Ange has been told he can have final yes or no. Hang on. So, maybe Ange has been told he can have the final yes or no on transfers. And I'm just worried that, the board or Levy, whoever, can turn around and say, well, we tried to get Raya, we couldn't get him, so here's some one-armed bandit from, I don't know, Antarctica, you know. Oh, as a kayaker, I better reel in. Our board in the past has had good form for this sort of shenanigans. By the way, can anyone tell me how fish can take all the food off your hook without you even feeling it? I really don't feel like I'm top of the food chain sometimes. You know, I'm supposed to be like apex predator, king of the world, and these little dumb things just take all the amount of food I've thrown out over there could feed a small country, you know, could feed a small country. But you know, it's nice to be here, isn't it? And I'm thinking, okay, so say if we get David Ray 40 million, and then there's other reports about James Maddison. People seem keen on him. I'm not fussed, to be honest. I'm not fussed. But, you know, I might be completely wrong on that. He might be, you know, worth having. Say that's 60 million, then that's 100 million. And we still need a central defender after that. So maybe 130, 150 we might need to spend this window. Which, you know, if you're competing for the top is not a whole hill of beans. And the other sort of reports that are coming out that are worrying me a little bit. Sorry, look at that, I'm paranoid, eh? 5-0, 5-0. And this could be absolute bollocks. Could be absolute bollocks. When you see reports of, you know, Spurs having to spend within their means. That's a nothing headline. Every club has to spend, you know, it depends what your means are, doesn't it? If you're Chelsea and Todd Bowley, your means are $500 million. If you're Tottenham, it's less. But the one that really concerns me is when I see, and I hope this is bullshit, I hope they're just trying to play us like a fiddle, those Fleet Street meatheads, is that we've got to sell to buy, you know, we've got to keep a balance in the transfer budget. And that's the same shit we used to do at White Hart Lane. Sell to buy, keep it all balanced. And that annoys me because this new stadium was supposed to be a golden new era. And okay, look, I can fully accept we ain't going to be spending as much as the big, huge, massive clubs. But even at White Hart Lane, we were spending decent money. We were just buying a lot of crap. And now it looks like nothing's changed. And I'm just wondering what the point in the bloody stadium was. You know, last year we made a financial loss. I don't know what it's going to be like this year, but you know, you've had a couple of boxing matches. You know, you had Beyonce shaking her thing. So when I see that we've got to sell to buy, I'm thinking, what was the point in it all? What was the point? Where's the money going? I guess. You know, I'm not a financial expert or anything like that. Oh, I tell you what, I just had a bit of a battle with a fish, and as usual, the fish won. Oh, it was tugging away. Must have been the size of it might have been a great white shark. I mean, I don't want to exaggerate or anything, but it was massive, massive. All the excitement, the thrill, the adrenaline. So, yeah, what I was saying was, like, so if we were balancing the budget and all that crap when we had White Hart Lane, why are we still balancing the budget when we got this stadium with, you know, much extra capacity? I maybe Sean Butler, I'll have to have a chat with him sometime. And look, and I'm no financial whiz kid, but I'm just wondering if Spurs are doing something like, okay, you get a bit of money and then they're investing it in something to make money, and then they take that money and then they invest it to make money. And I'm just wondering, well, at what point do you say, okay, we've got enough shit happening, why don't we just, you know, put the money into a centre back or something like that? I don't get it. As I say, look, this is all, you know, my concern is just based on speculation, really, out of the press. But the reason I am concerned is that this is, you know, this has happened before with Tottenham, and you know, it's not. It doesn't make me feel ultra comfortable. You know, we've got this nice big stadium, but we've got $700 billion debt. I remember a while ago I did some back of the fag packet calculations, and I came roughly to the conclusion that given the mortgage repayments and all that, it would give us an extra £50 million a year over White Hart Lane, including paying debt and all that sort of stuff. Now, I don't know if that's optimistic or whatever, but say if it's even 30 million. I'm just wondering why. Okay, well, it's still 30 million extra, isn't it? And I'm just wondering why we're dicking around as usual. You had Levy talking to the FAB Thunderbirds ago, saying that he had back managers, which is clearly absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. I think he said he might have been let down, unless he was referring to dodgy Italian football director Fabio Paratici. I prefer saying Paratici. I actually asked an Italian how he pronounced it, and he said either are fine. So, Paratici. I like the Jacob from Spurs saying it. The sun's getting low in the sky now, so I've decamped to higher ground. Look at that. Looks a bit crap on that, doesn't it? I'll tell you what, to get down to the water here, I just climb up a couple of hills. You've got to go through a bit of a reserve. You've got to go through all that lot and kind of zigzag your way down a little bit. And I was out here one evening, and I was nice and relaxed. And once the sun sets, it gets very dark very quickly. But I was cool and relaxed. And I thought I'd make my way home, and it was pitch black. So I was walking through this slightly spooky forest, or wood, getting a little bit nervous, And I obviously took a wrong turn, because I was walking for quite a way, and I was thinking I'll take a shortcut. And as I'm going, this ain't a shortcut. And I shit you not, right, you can look at this on Google Earth, right, if you don't believe me. Just sort of round towards that direction, around the bay, is an old mental hospital, an old asylum, which a lot of it's not used, but some of it's now retirement homes. They've kind of put a lick of paint on it, business. And I emerged from the forest at the gates of this retirement home, and I'm not bullshitting here. The name of the retirement home, and it's written on these iron gates, is Bedlam Retirement Village. Bedlam. Oh fuck me! I shat myself. That's not what you want to see when it's pitch dark coming out of gates. Bedlam, But anyway, so I'm a bit worried. I don't know if I should be worried or concerned. Levy's got form, Enoch's got form of this sort of stuff. Maybe the press is stirring stuff up. Maybe it won't be that bad. Look, if we get Raya over the line, I'll start feeling a lot better, because that's one important position filled. And I think for the rest of the window, I'd be satisfied with the centre back. That's two positions we definitely need. I know people say we need a bit of creativity, which is probably right. But I'd be prepared to wait for a window to do that. Ange is here for 4 years, so I'm not asking for the moon on a stick. But even a goalkeeper and a centre back, best part of 70 million, isn't it? I suppose. If Raya's 40, we get a centre back for 30. Maybe if we get a bargain, 20. Unlikely. 60, 70 million. If we've got to balance the books, I don't see where the money goes. Maybe Harry Kane. I hope we don't sell him just to do something like this, though. And bear in mind also, we're probably going to have to rip up a few contracts. We might be able to flog a few players here and there, but those ones out on loan, what are we going to get for them? A couple of mil here, a couple of million there, it's not much. But yeah, balance the book. I don't want to hear that, man. I don't want to hear that. Like, I found it weird last season, last summer, where instead of other clubs just buy players or whatever they do, whereas Tottenham went to the point of making this big announcement, 150 million war chest, And other clubs don't do that, and I don't think we even spend that anyway. And all that was investment for more shares in the club anyway. But you don't. Again, I don't pay attention to news from other clubs. Maybe they do the same, but I found it weird that Tottenham would announce something like that. Why would you announce that and tell everyone else how much you want to spend this summer? It seems a bit weird. I think that maybe be a bit PR for the fans or something. But it's not a smart move, is it? Saying we're going to spend 150 million. All the other clubs will go. You know what I really find particularly annoying about all this old crap is that as a football fan, I'm fed up with talking about all this money and business. I just want to enjoy a game of football. And I'm sure a lot of fans out there are the same. I mean, I get it, it's closed season at the moment, so you probably are talking a bit more like this about who's going to come in and who's going to go out and all that razzmatazz. But I do find myself doing it during the season as well. That's what money's done to the club. We're all talking finance. You know, I'm talking out my arse like I don't know anything about business, not enough to make comments on billion-dollar companies, but here I am because it's something that I'm concerned about. But hopefully we'll have something else to talk about in a few days when the Premier League fixtures come out, which is cool. Be able to start talking a bit of football again. And at the moment, I'm just going to come out here and smell the roses a bit because Tottenham does concern me. I hope they do Ange right. I really do. Come on, Enoch. Come on, Levy. Pull your fingers out. Stop playing this silly bugger stuff. Anyway, as always, come on, you Spurs.